few sessions would be on how we can integrate various security tools or services with our pipeline to do security testing well before in the development cycle. So, as you all would be aware that now security is not just, or any kind of a testing is not just a tester's responsibility, it's a shared responsibility. And you would seen in previous sessions also, we talked about some of the code quality tools like SonarQube, etc., which helps you do a static analysis. Also, add a check on things like amount of a coverage any PR which is raised should have, right? So as per industry practice, 80% is what we aspire for, that any feature branch or anything which is merged to your main or master branch should have unit test coverage of at least 80%. And also you would know that we want that you would have seen there is like a pyramid, testing pyramid you can call, wherein at the bottom lies the unit test cases. So there should be maximum coverage using unit test cases, and eventually as you go up at the top you'll have something called as end-to-end testing, for which you can use tools like Selenium, etc., to do your web testing in an automated way, right? So as we proceed in this series, we'll talk about those things as well. But today we are mainly going to, today and in upcoming few sessions, we'll talk about integrating your security testing tools or services with your pipeline or GitHub Action, and or independently doing a scan on your code repository, right? So let's get started. Let me quickly share the agenda, right? And then I'll walk you through these services and what I plan to do in next session, so that when we come in next session, you've taken care of all the prerequisite, okay? And then it would be more about implementation, right? So the service which we are going to talk about today is AWS CodeGuru Reviewer, and then the second agenda. Today we'll just discuss the prerequisite, right? About, okay, what are the what do you say, the roles one has to create, configurations, etc. And in the next session we'll pick up the second demo which is mentioned in the list. But let me quickly go through the architecture of our second session. Today we'll independently talk about this AWS CodeGuru Reviewer. Everything would be done using AWS Management Console, right? And eventually we'll build upon these demos. But the idea, the final thing which we are trying to do is, the moment there is a code commit, you want your Jenkins job to be triggered on that code commit, or you can manually trigger it for a specific branch, etc., however you want to do it, right? Once your code is built, you want to do in a post build, you want to run these security scan using AWS CodeGuru Reviewer CLI, which has been built on AWS CLI, right? And then once this would publish recommendation, you can work on those recommendation. If everything looks good, you can initiate the testing and finally the deployment, okay? Yeah. So these are the things which would be required for our second demo. Let me quickly go through here, and then I'll show you on the AWS as well, right? So first you need to have certain prerequisite, like you should have Java, Maven, AWS CLI, etc. installed on your system. And since we've been doing all our demos on the EC2 instance, so we are going to do all those setup on the EC2 instance itself. I've already done that, but I'll walk you through a page which lists down all these steps, right? And then we'll create certain IAM role, right? Because now there is a integration between multiple service, right? You want your Jenkins to access CodeGuru, and then CodeGuru requires S3 bucket where it puts the it scans your artifacts and shares the recommendation, etc., right? So you need all these accesses. Plus here we are using GitHub repository, so we need to have that integration as well, right? So this is the first step, which is then you'll set up the environment. When we talk about environment, it's majorly about the things you need to install, the software you need to have, and then the roles, policies, etc. you need to create, right? And then what we'll do, this is our today's focus, wherein we'll have one sample repo in GitHub, and for that we are going to do a scan using AWS Code Reviewer, and we'll see what all recommendations we get, right? And when we'll come to the our second demo, where we'll be integrating same thing, right? Right now it's like, okay, manually you're going and specifying your code repository, etc. But what if you want to integrate with your pipeline, right? So again, for this also we have the sample code, etc. already available on the GitHub, and a lot of documentation is present on AWS itself, right? So this is going to be our second demo for the next session. So today our complete focus is on AWS CodeGuru Reviewer. Okay, so let's get started. So first thing, what you have to go sign up to your AWS management console and search for CodeGuru. I'm already there on that page, but I'm just showing you how to navigate to this service. Yeah. Definition also, see, CodeGuru securities, ML. Yeah, I forgot to tell you, like, what is it that Code Guru Reviewer uses? So it has a lot of uses ML, AI ML to do a security scan, and here you can find more. So let me just quickly give you an overview of CodeGuru, right? So it's a service that uses program analysis and machine learning to detect potential defects that are difficult for developer to find, and offers suggestion for improving your Java and Python code. So there is support for Java and Python code. Okay. And then it is available in most of the regions, right? And then it has integration. You can integrate your Code Guru Reviewer with various source code management tools like AWS Code Command. We have Bitbucket, GitHub, Enterprise, Amazon S3, right? Where in Amazon S3 you can just place your artifacts, your snapshots, etc., and then on that you can run the scan, whichever you want to do with it, right? And there are three ways, in fact, sorry, four ways to access this. One, console, then CLI, then using API and SDK. We'll focus on the console part today, right? So let me go to console. Yeah. And everything is like, okay, very, very self-explanatory, right? And also they as per CodeGuru, they are saying that it ensures that there is minimum false positive, right? Uh, so you don't want that for your code. You get thousands of recommendation, and out of that thousands of recommendation, only one or two are valid, right? So they say as they use ML, etc. That ensures they would have done a lot of analysis, and then the result which comes out is very, very effective. There are really low false positive, right? So first thing what you have to do, these are like basic options you have when you go to Code Guru. So today we are going to just discuss about repositories and code review. So what we'll do, I'll go ahead and I'll associate a repository for which I want to do a scan. See, this particular service you'll be charged. So you have to ensure, like, do you want to go for a full scan of the repository or a specific branch, etc. Yeah. So I'll be doing the scan of specific branch. First, it would be the master branch, right? Yeah. So GitHub. Again, AWS is connecting to GitHub. So you need to have a some handshake. Yeah. So let's connect. Yeah, it's connected. The repository. Okay, let me quickly give you a walkthrough of that sample repository, right, where you can find it. So this can be found at AWS samples account. Under there is Amazon Code Guru Reviewer sample app. go ahead and fork this API, and you'll see in the README file, whatever I'm telling you, it's already there in the README file, right? So if you want to go more in detail, you can just read these, right? Same thing which I'm doing, right? Okay, go to associate repository, click GitHub, associate GitHub with AWS, specify your repo name, right? Uh, yeah, so let's do till step 2, and then we'll come to the next steps. Yeah, so where were we here? Let me just close this to avoid confusion. The repository is this, okay? On which branch you want to do a scan. Okay, for now, let me do it on a dev branch. I've created a branch named as dev, right? And yeah, it says you should have create an AWS CodeGuru file that uses glob expression to exclude files and directories, right? So if you don't want, there are times like when you're doing commit, etc., a lot of random files gets created. You don't want to, what do you say, scan those, right? You just want to scan whatever there is, it's present in your source main Java. So all those things, if you want, you can specify using AWS CodeGuru Reviewer.yaml file. Let me show it's already there in the sample itself, right? If you see this, yeah, it's already here, right? So they are excluding anything which is there in SRC sum package or SRC sum, etc., right? So these files won't be scanned. And if you want, you can add more files, or you can specify, especially if you just want to scan just one particular file, which is very important, critical file for you. So that also you can specify, right? Yeah. So this sample has all those things, right? Again, going back to the README, right? Where are we? We have reached this step. Let me save this. Okay. So see, CodeGuru Reviewer is doing this on, and it is doing a full scan on the development dev branch which I had created. Okay. So the status is still pending. So let's see what we have to do next. Once this is done, Ali, let's do one thing. We'll go ahead and create a local branch, right? And then for that same branch, we'll raise a pull request, and we'll see once we raise a pull request, does the automated review starts or not. Okay. So not sure if, so I am on my local repository, right? Amazon CodeGuru Reviewer Sample app. Okay, here I am. Now what it says is to, yeah. So this is like, we're just doing some stuff which would invoke, again, automatic code review the moment we raise a PR, right? So let's follow what they have given ultimately. So I've cloned it. Let's go ahead, and I'm already there in the master branch. Let's go ahead and create a demo branch. Git checkout. Let me name it demo talent current 500. Okay. Now what it says is just do a simple copy of your, what do you say, the file which is present here, right, to this. So let me first CCP SRC pain Java. First, let me see the locations. Okay, CD is SRC main Java. Let's see what is there. The com is there. Then let me go to shipment, and let me create mkdir, a demo file. Okay, this is created. Now quickly, okay, so I'm here till here, right? I'm here, SRC main Java com shipment events. Now what I'll do, whatever is present in handlers / event handler Java, this I'll be copying into a demo directory. So in directory, what you're doing, you're copying this particular event handler.java into demo directory as well. So what I'll do, cp handlers event to demo. Okay. This is done, right? Now what we have to do? Add all the changes. Hit add, hit commit, demo of AWS Code Review console. Let me push the changes. See, I've made changes to only one file and there are like 195 insertions. That's okay. Git push, set up stream. So you'll see we are like doing step-by-step things. We learned about code commit, a little bit about GitHub, then SonarQube. Now we are moving towards DevSecOps. Once we are done with that, in our next 3-4 session, I'll just focus on the DevSecOps part, and then I'll talk about little bit about monitoring and observability. These days, I'm learning a lot about Dynatrace, right? So I'll give you all a walkthrough of the Dynatrace. What are the things uh, Dynatrace helps you to monitor, right? So eventually, we'll talk about those tools as well, right? And what is my branch name? Demo Talent 500. Okay. So meanwhile, we've created this branch. Okay. Let's see. Where are we on the console? Okay. Yeah. So the association has done and it has done a analysis as well, right? So see how many recommendations it gave on that particular branch, which was your dev branch. Okay. So these are your 12 recommendations. There are some security vulnerabilities that would like you to see. It is also giving you recommendations and the links, etc., for the solution, right? So then based on that, you can say whether it was useful, not useful. You can have some discussions on these recommendations, right? Um, okay. So this is done. Now let's see when I do a merge, right? Or when I raise a PR, okay? In that case, the scan starts or not, okay? So again, we are here. Let's go to pull request, okay? Create a compare and pull request, okay? So what we are doing is we are trying to merge the changes of demo talent 500 to master. Be careful, guys. This is like, make sure you do this merge to your account, right? Here it's showing AWS sample. Just go ahead and select your account. Okay. Now let's go ahead and create a pull request. Okay. Now what it says is, let's go ahead and read. It says, in your forked GitHub repo, choose new pull request. Yeah, we did. On the left side of the comparison, select this is what we did. Okay. It was showing AWS sample, but we had to select our. On the right side of side of the comparison, compare change the branch to dev. Yeah, that we did in case it was demo. The branch should be shown as able to merge. Now we've created this. Choose create pull request and again create pull request. Oh, okay, no worries. After a few minutes, okay, code reviewer will issue recommendation on the same GitHub page. Okay, let's see. Where the pull request was created. You can check the status of code review in the code reviews view of, yeah, let's see. Here also, what's happening here? Let's see. See, the moment we raised a PR, you can see there was a PR raised, right? And now again, your scan is running. Okay. So the currently status is, so here also you can see, and as per this, you should see somewhere, the recommendation somewhere on the GitHub page as well, which makes sense. But why I'm not able to see? Commits. Maybe I'm missing some steps, right? Maybe I have to provide some oh, association here. Okay, let's see. It says it takes few minutes, but yeah, let it complete. Okay, once that we'll see that the review is complete here, we should be able to see something, the recommendation there as well, right? It's not completed yet. So since all this is happening, let me quickly tell you what you need to do for your next demo, which is integrating all this. Right now, everything is manual, right? Not manual, I would say, but yeah. Whenever a PR is raised, you will see the recommendation here. And again, you want to integrate all this with your pipeline. So you do a code commit, your pipeline starts. After the build takes place, you want to run this thing, what you're seeing here when you raised a PR, right? Okay, so let me quickly share what we'll do in next session. Okay, so this is the repository, right? Which would come handy in our second demo, right? So what all you have to do is first make sure you have all these things installed on your system, right? So which I've already done. Like if you see, let me just, it's been a while since I connected here. So I've created a EC2 instance on which I'm going to do all these things, right? If you want, you can do it from your local as well. Yeah. So this. Okay, let me come here. So this scan is completed. Again, when you click, you'll see the recommendations. Okay, there are 6 recommendations which you're getting on your, what do you say, the new PR. And let's see if you're able to see same recommendations on GitHub. Okay. See, you're seeing all the recommendations, when solutions, etc. on your PR as well, right? If this looks good, then only you'll go see again the status is open, right? So here there would be either the PR would be sent back to the owner of this PR for the fixes, or if everything looks good, you can go ahead and as a PR reviewer, you can merge the changes, right? And ideally, you don't want every time to go to the management console and see the recommendation, right? You would always want that whatever was happening on your branch, it is visible on your PR, should be visible there itself, right? So in future also, if somebody wants to see whether this particular security vulnerability was raised earlier as well or not, they can come and see on the PR, right? And they can see all the discussions which is happening. Yeah. So let me quickly recap what we did. Okay, we've moved into DevSecOps, right? Like how we can have security testing as a part of our development, and how security testing is not just a specific group's responsibility, but it is a shared responsibility. And so you want that you should leverage tools which gives you very less false positive, right? Developers already have a lot of stuff to take care of. They have to, every sprint they need to work on some features, etc., right? So you want to integrate with tools which gives you less false positive, right? So here we are talking about AWS CodeGuru Reviewer. For them, they use ML, and they help you to scan your Java and Python code, right? And they provide you recommendations. What else? Yeah. Also, with this approach, what you're doing, you're shifting your testing left, right? Everything is moving very early in the development cycle. See, the moment PR is raised, developer raised the PR, right? Then and there you're seeing all these recommendations. You can take actions and you're getting quick feedback and early feedback, right? And then eventually, if everything is go ahead. In previous session, we talked about SonarQube, which gave you static code analysis and which gave you code coverage, right? With this, you are seeing the recommendations, etc., right? Using your AWS code commit, right? So everything you're doing it very early in the development cycle. Once all those things are done, then your changes are being sent to a tester, or it is deployed into a test environment where testers can then do their functional testing, regression testing, end-to-end scenarios, so that their focus is mainly on business scenarios and the requirement, right? And also, you are avoiding a lot of to and fro's between our tester and developer, right? And as you know, it's fixing bug at the later tail of a development cycle is more costlier as testing it very early in the development, right? Because you know what's going on. It's not that, okay, after 1 week you had switched working on something else, and then, oh, you're getting a list of security bugs again. You have to go to that branch, recall what you have done, right? Was it expected, right? So it's always easier to fix the bug early in the cycle, right? Yeah. So now you guys would understand, DevOps is not just about the tools, right? It provides you a lot of tools, but how you leverage it, how you ensure at the end of the day you want your customer to be happy, or you want to send a quality product. So by judiciously using these tools, right, which configuration, etc., you are able to ensure that yes, you are having a happy customer, and you are able to churn more, produce more. Yeah. Now the second demo which we'll do, right, which is uh, integrating all this with our pipeline. Okay, so let me quickly tell you all the prerequisite and show you what all I have done. Yeah. So this particular block you can search. Let me just stop my screen for a second so that you can read. So under AWS DevOps block, this is from June 2022, right? And written by Akash Verma, David, and then Debashish, right? So here they talk about how you can integrate your CodeGuru with CI/CD pipeline, right? So let me tell you what is the prerequisite. First, ensure that you have all these things installed: Java, Maven, Git, etc. on your system. Once that's done, then what you have to do, you need to create a role, or you need to create a policy. If you see, this is the policy. What you're doing is you are giving permissions to this role or a user to for the code guru, and then S3 bucket, right? It mentions we would need also the S3 bucket you create. It should have prefix as CodeGuru Reviewer. That's the prefix, because this is the requirement of this particular policy, etc. And then the AWS CodeGuru CLI, right? So once you've done that, this talks about how do you download CodeGuru Reviewer CLI, right? So this link, GitHub, is redirecting you to here, right? So this is the repo you need to clone, right? Yeah. Again, all the settings. Just before setting anything, just check these path, etc. It can vary from system to system. And then this is the sample code on which we've already done the scan, right? We got 6 recommendations. Okay. Yeah, and we can see that yes, CodeGuru Reviewer does work, and it does gives you recommendation, right? Now what you will do, you will go ahead and create a Jenkins job. The type would be the pipeline, and in that we'll have 3 stages. The first stage would be build, which is simple, your Maven. For that you have to ensure that your Jenkins, you have certain plugins in your Jenkins, Maven being one of them, right? Yeah. So the first step does clones your sample repository, right? So they are using the what do you say, this particular repo, but we can use the previous repo only, which we had used while doing a scan using the console option, right? And then you do a build. Okay, this is for like Unix, and this is for Windows, since ours is like EC2 instance, so we'll go by these commands. Then code reviewer, what it does here, it just setting up these path, right? If you want, you don't have to set all these up. If you want, you can just specify the path here. But let's read what it's doing is you're specifying your root directory, right? What is your root directory? Where Jenkins home workspace, etc. In on EC2 instance, it would be something where lib Jenkins. So either you provide the path here, or you specify some variables like base variables, etc. And then you're specifying on which this code reviewer needs to be run, right? Yeah. And then the file, the source file. And since I told you that running a scan on entire repo is costly, so it provides you an option where you can specify a range, commit range. Yeah. So once this is done, you can check the findings, right? Here you'll see all these libraries are being used. So the result which you get from here, from the recommendation, like how do you get the recommendation? It's in HTML and JSON format. So you read that JSON and you count how many, what do you say, vulnerabilities you are getting. Ideally, it should be zero. But if you are getting more than one, then you'll specify, okay, how many uh, vulnerabilities you got, right? So here they're just counting. What is the count? Six, so they'll print you got these many vulnerabilities. Yeah. So this is how your pipeline would look like. Yeah. And then you'll see these are the HTML and the JSON. So this, the last part in the code, you'll see it would be run on these JSON file and it would print those recommendations for you. Same thing, right? What we did today. Yeah. Okay. Again, so we have all the content on the what do you say, the GitHub repo as well, and here as well, right? So if you just follow those steps, you'll be able to set everything up. Yeah. So let me quickly. That's it for today. I know a lot of information. So finally, let me summarize it for you all. Today we talked about DevSecOps, which is how we can ensure that security is part of your pipeline, or it is part of your early development, right? And ensure that, okay, how we can use various tools available to give you those security vulnerabilities well before uh, in the development cycle, right? So we are talking about AWS CodeGuru Reviewer. Okay, we talked about how you can access this particular service. There are four ways: your through console, like UI, then through CLI, then your code and or SDK. So today we just focus on the console. Next we'll be talking through CLI, right? So for the console, very simple thing. We had to associate your management console with your code repository, right? So we went on management console, we associated our repository, we did one scan on the master branch, and then what we did, we raised a pull request, and which is like an automatic triggering of the recommendation. So once we uh, raised a PR, scan was run, you saw all the recommendation on GitHub, plus you could see it on the management console as well, right? You saw that. Um, After that, we talked about prerequisite for our next demo, which is how we are going to integrate our Jenkins pipeline to this AWS CodeGuru Reviewer CLI, right? So there were certain prerequisite. Again, all these things I'm doing it on EC2 instance itself, right? All those setups. If let me. Okay. Also, once you're done doing this demo, make sure you do all the cleanup, which is like deassociate these repository, right? So this is what I'll also do after this session. Okay. Oh, let me select Virginia. This is where I was doing. Let me directly connect from here and show all those prerequisite, right? So once you see all those prerequisite, once it's installed, you want to validate if it has been installed correctly or not. And also, guys, ensure, since I'm using EC2 instance for Jenkins, etc. So make sure in the security group you expose your port 8080, because it's where your Jenkins it listens on that port, right? So while creating, it's not mandatory you use your EC2 instance. You can use your system as well to set up the Jenkins, but I prefer using EC2 instance, right? So if first you should have Java, right? Then you should have Maven, okay? Then you should have Git. So Git, I think by default it comes with this AMI, but again, okay. Here, version. Okay, and then CLI. So you can say AWS. Yeah, so it's there. These were 4 prerequisites, remember, on this particular page. Yeah, this, and then what we have to do, we need to have a S3 bucket with prefix as CodeGuru Reviewer. Let me show you that as well. Though in next session, we'll if you guys want, I'll do all these setups during the session itself, right? Yeah, so see, I've created a bucket, right? Uh, with same setting what it was provided here. And then what is the next step? You need to have a IAM role, okay? So I had already created that role. Let me show you. So I'm showing you all this so that you remember the pattern, right? Okay. This policy I've created. If you see, yeah. So CodeGuru Reviewer, IAM, and S3. If you want to see it in JSON, it's same JSON which was given there. And that's why I see you have two resources which you're specifying. So this is the prefix for your S3 bucket. Yeah. So once you're done with this, um, to install AWS CodeGuru CLI, you need to install this as well. And from where you'll find it? From this repo, this particular repo. Okay. Simple. You need to have 5 things. Java, Git, CLI, CodeGuru CLI, right? And Maven. That's 5 things. Then you need to have a policy, right? Which we are going to associate, right? So those policy is for 3 things: your S3, CodeGuru, and IAM, right? So once that's done, we'll go to a Jenkins pipeline. We'll create Jenkins. We'll create a pipeline with 3 stages. First is build, second is code review, and third is checking the findings. Okay. And once done, you'll find the HTML file and you'll find recommendation in JSON. You can go and view them, right? And yeah, finally, you need to, they are also talking about, okay, you can, how you, since your code would be available on S3 bucket, so you need to have a right encryption to ensure that nobody is able to see the code, etc. So they are talking about all those things, but we won't go in that detail because we haven't talked about key management till now, right? And yeah, as I was telling you, the command, right, where you specify, okay, what is your source, build, and then the range. Okay. This is all about the encryption. And finally, we can go ahead and clean up. So you need to delete your S3 bucket and you need to delete the Jenkins installation. Okay. Yeah. So we'll see you all in the next session. Thank you.